Good afternoon, everyone. We would like to welcome you and thank you for joining us for this installment of the Groundwater Foundation's webinar series, co-sponsored by the Water Research Foundation. In order to achieve the Groundwater Foundation's missions of educating and motivating people to care for and about groundwater, the Groundwater Foundation is offering these monthly webinars. While we will continue to offer some conferences, seminars, and workshops, we feel this webinar series offers us the opportunity to provide valuable resources to you at minimal costs and no travel expenses. My name is Brian Reitz. I'm a program coordinator here at the Groundwater Foundation in Lincoln, Nebraska, and I'll be hosting today's Groundwater Guardian Showcase Adult Groundwater Education webinar. We're excited to have our presenters, Gabrielle Belfit, John Paquin, and Janine who join us from all different parts of the United States. This webinar will be broken into 3 parts, and each of them will be presenting the different ways that they have reached out to adults and educated them about groundwater in their communities as well. I just want to walk you through a couple of the webinar features that we'll be using during the course of today's events. First off is the chat feature. If you'd like to ask a question of me or any of the presenters during the course of the webinar, please type your question into the chat box just to the left of the send button in the bottom right-hand section of your screen. I'll monitor the questions throughout the presentation, and then we'll address as many of them as possible during the question and answer segments, and we'll have that question and answer segments after each of the presentations. I'm going to type in just a quick hi in that bottom window so everyone should be able to see that in that window. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to send questions during the course of it, and we'll open it up as well. Secondly, we'll be utilizing just here early, just a short polling feature. When a poll question is asked of you, the screen should appear on the right-hand side. So here's a poll that I'm going to open up now that talks to you about how you heard about today's webinar. If you can vote in that poll and let me know how you heard about that, that'd be great. I'll have about a minute to do that. All right, thanks for participating in that poll. I'm now going to introduce Janine Reed. Janine was born and raised in Washington State, attended the University of Washington, graduating with a Bachelor's of Science degree in biology. She began her career in environmental health in 1998. She has worked in the on-site septic system program since 1999 and helped to create the septic education component of Septic 101 and has taught the class since its beginning in 2000. She is presenting for the Sequim-Dungeness Groundwater Guardian community. So welcome, Janine.
Thanks, Brian. Thanks for having me. So our class, we offer this adult education called Septic 101. We hold it pretty often, about once a month, and we hold them in a central location where we have predominantly septic systems and also water quality issues. We cover the basics of why we care about wastewater, how a septic system works, and how to maintain it. We also talk about what's in wastewater, why it's so dangerous to people, why we want it in the ground, and we talk about the different types of pathogens that are there. There's a lot of discussion also about what happens when failures in a septic system, impact groundwater and surface water. We made this little graphic, our sink, watershed sink, where it's does your flush rush to the sea? That seems to catch a lot of attention of people. And we're focused a lot on our Sequim-Dungeness watershed. This is a watershed that's got a lot of rural areas, but also some real congested areas where we've got groundwater and nitrate issues. And most of the people that come to the class, about 60%, are usually from this Sequim-Dungeness watershed. So in Sequim-Dungeness, we've got several shallow aquifers that have elevated nitrates. These are background levels that are high. And then we talk about the shallow soils and well-drained soils that are also in the area that septic systems tend to impact these types of aquifers when you've got really well-drained soils. And you need pre-treatment really to remove nitrogen before it hits that groundwater aquifer. We have several neighborhoods that we've focused on in past grants, and this is a map of some of the watersheds. The areas to the north have really high water tables in the winter, and I'm pretty sure what's going on there with the bay, pollution in the bay could be directly tied to the groundwater and septic pollution. So our focus is really on maintenance of septic systems. We emphasize, to know where your septic system is. When I first started in this county, there was a bit of an outcry that people were getting septic systems and not really learning how to use them, and nobody really paid any attention to that. So that's why we started this program, was to try to get people educated on what they have and where it is and how to use it, limit water usage, reduce chemicals and cleaners, and check the system regularly. We place a lot of emphasis on the cost to the environment when you've got a septic system failure. We monitor beaches and a lot of the rivers and creeks in the area, and oftentimes we'll have high levels of fecal coliform bacteria there. We, of course, emphasize the cost to the homeowner also. Septic systems can be really expensive to repair, and a lot of the older systems that we have in the ground now, when they get repaired, they're probably going to get some of these higher-end systems like the recirculating gravel filter, which is it's not a cheap thing. So people are really interested in taking care of it because of that. And the way we market Septic 101, we use newspaper ads when we have the money for it. Press releases, not quite as often. Press releases can be a little scary because you don't really have a lot of control over what they're writing. Realtors in the area are well aware of our program. We include them in our mailings about the class. Word of mouth seems to be working really well. A lot of people, when they're finished taking the class, will go out and share the information with their neighbors and send them to the class. We have a schedule that we distribute here at the counter at our office, and we also give a chunk to all the on-site professionals who include it with all their septic permits. And then we occasionally will have newsletter announcements. River Center, where we hold the class, has a newsletter that shares our schedule. And so to build interest in septic maintenance, we've really focused on saving money through maintenance. A lot of people are interested in saving money, and especially when trying to maintain their home. We also, tie it into what's going on in our environment. We've got shellfish downgrades in Dungeness Bay because of bacterial contamination that may be coming from septics, as I said before. And we've got our drinking water aquifers that have some high levels of nitrates. And lately, we've had a new law. So getting people to comply with the law has been a big factor in people's interest in this class. This law was enacted in 2007, and it requires an inspection for a septic system for conventional gravity every 3 years, and those that have a pump, which is every other system, every year. We have enacted a program for training homeowners to self-inspect their septic systems, and Septic 101 is now a prerequisite for that training, and so that has generated a great deal of interest. The numbers here kind of speak for themselves. This year it's been a little slower because I haven't had as much time to devote to advertising and as much money to devote to it. But fortunately, for the rest of the year, our classes are full. We've got about 35 in each class, so we should be able to hit a good number by the end of the year. And I expect next year our classes to really fill up, too. So what has really worked best? Regular, consistent class offerings. People know they're happening every month. They can plan ahead for their time that they can be there. The word-of-mouth marketing really works well. People share it a lot. Industry support has been a big factor. We include on-site industry professionals in all of our classes. They're a part of what we call our expert panel. They're there to answer questions about septic systems, talk to people about, maintenance and such. And we also have a pre-registration, which allows us to provide, copies of as-built and maps of septic systems so that participants can talk to the industry, during a break and say, here's my map to my septic, please explain it because it doesn't make any sense to me, which is often the case with some of the older documents. And so that's been really helpful. And what's really worked best lately, surprisingly enough, is compliance with the law. That seems to, people are thinking, okay, well, now I really have to do it. I have to maintain my system, and I have to have it inspected, so I better learn about it. So what really hasn't worked is, when grant funding starts to run out. I mentioned earlier this year we had a bit of a lapse in attendance, and I think that was because we ran out of some advertising dollars, and I wasn't able to get something set up. So when grant funding is thin, it's sort of, it impacts us. Like I said, our advertising budget and sometimes the newspaper ads don't really come out right, even though I go over it with them time and again. And, it started out really as a voluntary component of education, so you've got a lot of people at first who really cared about the environment and who were really worried about pollution factors. And now I think we're getting a lot of more people involved because of the law factor, and then we can bring them in with the environmental factors that go with septic systems. The costs for the county, as you can see, they can be kind of high. We try to keep costs down. There have been times when we've been able to rent rooms for free. Oftentimes, if we hold a class at the courthouse here in our county, that's a free class, and so we don't have to spend the extra money for that. But it's usually about $500 per class. We've been supported mostly by state and federal grants. We've had to tap into the county general fund on occasion, and so far we've been able to offer this for free to participants, which I'm interested in keeping it free. It's a great service to the community, and people really like it. So again, it's helpful to have something that reels people in. We often talk about the cost of home maintenance and talk about things like, well, you get your roof looked at every year, you take care of the mold and mildew that might be in your house, you maybe have pest control every year. You really need to also look at your septic system every year, because without that, you can't live in your house. And after, you explain that to them, they really want to learn about it more so they know what they're doing. We have a lot of retirees in our county. We seem to have gotten a big influx of people from California. Many people in California, as you may know, in some of the larger cities have never been on septic before, and so we've been able to reach a lot of new septic owners. Our audience is really a good mix of male and female. Sometimes the guys will not want to come to the class because they think they already know everything, and then they get sent to the next class by their wife because she tells them they don't. And so, it's been really helpful in that way. And so I think I'm pretty done. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
All right. And now's the time for some questions that people ask during the course of it. If you have any more questions, just type them into the chat window. You can send them directly to me. One of the questions that was asked, Janine, was what's the population of the community, the county?
We have about 70,000 people in our county. In for as far as septics go, there's probably about 30,000 septic systems, and so far we've reached. I think we're up almost to 2,000 people. We have a ways to go, but I think with our homeowner inspection program, we're going to reach a lot more because there's quite a bit of interest in complying with the law, but being able to do it themselves rather than hire somebody.
Okay. Another question is, how long are the classes, and then how much time is dedicated to questions and answers during that time?
We have found that we found it helpful to answer questions during the class because I mostly teach. I teach a lot of it, and I teach it since I've been doing it since 2000. I kind of teach it off the top of my head, and so if I miss something, often a question that's asked can address it. And so we accept questions during the whole class. The class usually lasts about 2 hours, but when you have a larger group, which we've had lately, it can tend to go 2.5 hours. And so I tell people, expect to stay a little longer if we have a lot of questions because it's really a lot of material to cover. We go through how they work. In the second half, we talk about how you maintain them, and there's a lot of questions and a lot of detail. And so it usually can run about 2.5 hours.
Great. I think that's all the questions for now. As you see on the screen, there's Janine's contact information, and as you see, her email's on there as well, and her phone number. At the end, I'll post that back up, her email back up again for people to reach out to her as well to ask any additional questions. So, thanks, Janine.
Thanks, Brian.
I'd like to introduce and welcome in our second presenter today. It's Gabrielle Belfit. Gabrielle is a hydrologist with the Water Resource Program of the Cape Cod Commission and formerly of the Cape Cod Planning and Economic Development Commission. She's been involved in educational, technical, regulatory, and planning and protection aspects of Cape Cod freshwater resources for over 20 years. Gabrielle has a master's in hydrology from the University of New Hampshire and a bachelor's of science in biology from the University of South Florida. She's coordinated the Cape Cod Groundwater Guardian team for the past 14 years and is aimed at providing groundwater education to youth and adults. She has coordinated dozens of water festivals and have provided water resource education using innovative hands-on learning techniques to thousands of Cape Cod students. At the Commission, she participates in the regulatory review process, commenting on large-scale development issues to assure compliance with the Cape Cod Commission's regional policy plan, and provides technical assistance to the 15 Cape Cod towns on water resource issues. So welcome, Gabrielle.
Thank you very much, Brian. It's exciting to be part of this webinar, new technology for me, but kind of a neat opportunity to talk to folks across the country. I'm going to just talk a little bit about some of the ways that we try to reach both year-round residents and summer tourists about some of the issues here on the Cape. We've had very rapid growth, and in the summer our population really triples, and that's led to some pretty serious water quality issues. To address some of those problems, we created the Groundwater Guardian program back in 1995. I think that was like the 1 year after the program started. And we created a team of a really diverse group of folks who all had a vested interest in groundwater protection, but we weren't really working together toward that goal. So the Groundwater Guardian team gave us a really common ground to work on just a few projects each year, and all of them directed at that mission you see up there, educating our citizens about groundwater resources and how to protect them. The team, just really briefly, we've got 3 county agencies, county health, cooperative extension, as well as the Cape Cod Commission, which is who I work for. We have a citizen advocacy group known as the Association to Preserve Cape Cod. We have businesses represented by water utilities and Cape Cod cranberry growers. and Educator is our National Estuarine Research Reserve at Laquite Bay. So it's a really great group of people. And the education efforts really fall within three main areas. Our main focus, water education, water resource education. It's really a very multifaceted program. We target all age groups and utilize pretty much every different type of media we can get our hands on. The second area is stormwater outreach and education program, and we've coordinated a program so that the towns who are having to deal with phase 2 stormwater regulations don't have to go it alone, and they've, we can save some money and working with ideas together. And then the third area is water conservation. Again, primarily we're targeting our seasonal use here because of that tourism-based economy and that huge increase in water use in the summer. So our water resource education, we're trying to take message into the community. It's like always a priority and it's always a challenge. We've got to gauge our audience and make sure that we're delivering the correct message. And, whether you're talking to a group of homeowners, businesses, children, second homeowners, it's really important that you sort of understand what their level of knowledge is and deliver that message correctly. We don't want to be scaring people. We want to be encouraging them to do the right things. And the other challenge is like getting out there to find the right audience, like find who is the group who needs to have information because they're, in a position to, enact some change, pass a bylaw, and who are the individuals out there who already know the right thing to do. Their message is going to be challenging them to go a little bit further. And there's always the problem of how to get to individuals who really don't want to listen, and that's a problem everyone has. So we're, taking advantage at every opportunity, if it's, formal settings, civic association, or informal, and I'm talking about, literally talking to people on the street. When we have a message, we try to take every advantage. But we do have some real signature education events. Water festivals, it was mentioned. It's a primary tool we have for targeting teachers and 4th through 6th graders directly and the parents indirectly. We're on the web with 2 different websites. We have the Cape Cod Groundwater Guardian site, which is like covering everything you ever wanted to know about Cape Cod groundwater. And we have another site called the Cape Keeper site, which is about regional wastewater efforts. We're also working to create a network of demonstration projects across the Cape that showcase stormwater low-impact development techniques. So our water festival program, it's really a pretty big effort, and what makes it really successful for us is that we partner with the 26 young adults that are part of AmeriCorps Cape Cod, and we put a lot of time and effort into training the young adults, and they in turn go into the schools, and they have a really, really special connection with the youngsters they're teaching at the festival. Somehow or another, like, young adults teach far better than older adults. I don't know why it is, but it just works that way. We keep our festivals very small. Like our average size of a festival is only about 150 kids. So we have a 4-to-1 ratio with students and presenters. And we know from feedback that they're bringing these lessons home, and they are definitely reaching the parents. Just a couple of examples of what goes on at a festival. We have about a dozen of them in different towns across the Cape every year. And we charge about $2 a student, so they're pretty much self-funded. And the materials we use are pretty low cost, so that's something that we aim at. So here they're crawling down a giant toilet and flush the kids some years back. And we really hope the kids get an understanding of the connection between all the Cape's water resources at the end of the day and really what their role is in protecting it. When we teach about the water cycle, we use Cape Cod basically as a foundation. I always like to say Cape Cod is the water cycle poster child. And Cape Cod, as you may or may not know, is a sole source aquifer. And all the water resources originate from rainfall. And it's very, very easy to demonstrate and talk about how the rain is falling, penetrating into our aquifer, and how then it is used and reused for all of our needs. So it's a very visual way to teach the water cycle. We created our website. The URL's down at the bottom of the screen. And the web page claims, pretty much sums it up. All uses of water on Cape Cod, whether for drinking, swimming, boating, shellfishing, cranberry farming, or wetland habitat, depend on the health and quality of the groundwater. It's really that simple. We're withdrawing from wells for drinking, and we're recharging to that very same aquifer through our septic systems, and then, unfortunately, their nitrogen-rich effluent is flowing through the aquifer, discharging to the bays. And as you can see in this next slide, they're discharging quite a bit. So we're starting to really see the impact of wastewater discharge to our coastal waters. This particular location is Princess Cove in Barnstable. If anyone's ever been there, it's a beautiful estuary. Here we're having a typical algal bloom, which unfortunately we're seeing these occur more and more frequently. The salt waters on the Cape are nitrogen limited, so with a steady source from septic systems and lawn fertilizer, there you go. Coastal waters are deteriorating. So we really recognize that wastewater and teaching citizens about the impact of wastewater was a really critical problem, and we created a campaign called the Cape Keepers. The campaign, the first thing that we did in creating it is we really wanted to take a poll of the residents across the Cape to gauge what their perception was about coastal water quality, what do they know about septic systems, wastewater sources, and particularly, how they felt their role was in addressing the problem. So we created a campaign that the basic goal was bringing about a common understanding of the wastewater problem. And, the bullets here pretty much sum it up. Pretty much the entire Cape is developed using on-site septic systems. We have just a very few areas where it's sewered. That rapid population growth is adding more and more septic systems every year. All of them discharging nitrogen, even, they're built to code. Doesn't matter. They're all discharging nitrogen. And as I mentioned several times, that is the main cause of the deteriorating water quality. So the Cape Keepers campaign, we created a website, we created a logo, and a wide variety of media and techniques, all meant to introduce the public to wastewater issues. The website is a repository of regional wastewater planning from all of the towns. It's a good place to go to get an understanding of the different available technologies. And also, it's a great place to go to look for results about the scientific studies that have been done on the waterways, our bays and estuaries. So we've got visual media developed, posters, pamphlets. We did outreach workshops, speakers bureaus, radio spots, print advertising, and a sort of unique grassroots membership campaign that I'll tell you a little bit about. I just want to show you a couple of the posters here. This one's called What is Your Wastewater IQ? And the goal here was, just taking very small steps in educating the public that if you flush a toilet, you're part of the coastal water quality problem, and therefore, by default, you're actually part of the solution. And in this poster, we kind of maybe went toward a little bit more youthful population. We've got a couple of characters here, Nitro and Bloomer, and they're delivering the message here that nitrogen, nitro, travels through the groundwater pretty much unimpeded. He doesn't change and ends up in the coastal water. So what I really liked about the campaign, it was very clear, simple messages. Just get people this like basic understanding. Here are Sequim-Dungeness algae, however you pronounce that, but that is who that little guy is. He's basically, if you feed him, he'll, create an army. So, got nitrogen in your life. Find out what it's doing. And this is where that grassroots membership campaign came in. If you call this number, if you log on to the website, you had an opportunity to sign up and become a Cape Keeper. And so that was, part of the campaign. I'm going to just play you this little audio clip here. See if I can. All right, so, it was a great radio ad, and it was a great idea, but what happened when you became a Cape Keeper, you got sent a brochure, you put into an email database, and then that was about it. So the problem with that campaign is, I think when we were creating it, we were a panel of people reviewing material, but when, the grant money ran out, the program stopped, who was in charge, who was going to follow through with us. So not being able to sustain the Cape Keeper concept was kind of a drawback of the project. And, beautiful material, but it kind of ended. And I just think when you're going to design something, you have to really look, 1 year, 2 year, 5 years down the line as to, what you want to do with it. Another, little bit of a drawback I felt with the project is the campaign, it didn't focus on the solutions. It focused on the problem, but leaving out, so what do I do to help? It was frustrating to me as a presenter in the, with that early campaign message. Clearly we needed to bring people's knowledge up to a basic level, but also clearly we had to start talking about advanced treatment. It is the only thing, sort of taking homes down that's really going to lower the nitrogen levels in the aquifer. So, the decision was made. That's a very expensive thing. It's very complicated. It's going to be very different in every town. So we're going to leave it up to the towns as they go forward to do their wastewater planning. They can finish delivering the rest of the message. It is a very, very expensive thing, and maybe we were oversimplified in the beginning, and, we'll see how that works out. But bottom line is there was a net improvement in the level of basic understanding. We did a follow-up survey, and I do think that's going to be very helpful to the towns as they go forward with their wastewater planning and implementation of TMDLs, the total maximum daily load. So we're going to be really limiting discharge to the estuaries in the future. So moving on, changing topics, stormwater. Big project for us, working on stormwater outreach. We created Project Storm, and unfortunately, stormwater is pretty much a poor relative next to wastewater. So finding programs that work and getting folks to pay attention can be sort of hard. But what is really good is that as opposed to the very expensive fixes of wastewater, there's a lot of inexpensive fixes for stormwater. So I think education can really be immediately put into practice. And in our messaging, what we really stress is that stormwater is a valuable resource. It's not a waste product. And that you keep stormwater clean and you recharge it to the aquifer, and that's a task that each individual citizen can help with, whether it's picking up dog poop, whether it's minimizing lawn fertilizer, washing your car on the lawn. There are so many things that as an individual citizen they can do. So we did a lot of the traditional education outreach stuff over the years. And, some things I think worked and some things, I'm not that crazy about. And just briefly mention stormwater curb marking is kind of a very traditional thing to do. We designed a beautiful decal to use on the materials. And, when we did a bulk purchasing for curb markers, we got a very good price. And in some areas, we'll launch a program. We do some advertising. We would have stormwater hangers. And there'd be a big level of awareness when we go out into the community. People were all about, the storm drain and taking care of it. But now I go back onto these same streets. The curb markers are there, but I think the knowledge level has really faded away. So I think with the curb marking, when they're novel and advertised, you get a big spike, and after that, they just, really seem to fade away. I think you would point to one, and somebody would, I don't know what that is, that's my personal opinion, but our rain barrel distribution event, now that's something that just happens once a year. We do an advertising campaign, but we've had just such a steady increase in the interest. And I think it's a lot of word of mouth. It's a lot of people seeing barrels installed in public places or at friends' house, along with there's a real growing interest on the Cape for sustainable gardening. So we get opportunities both when people are just walking by our building where we have several rain barrels to talk about it, and at the distribution, you get a lot of that, one-on-one discussion. Talking not just about water conservation, but about how, disconnecting just that portion of roof runoff, is helping with stormwater quality. So I'm a big fan of the rain barrels. We are trying to get some demonstration projects going on the Cape where we can direct people to talk about, low-impact development techniques for stormwater. And we do a lot of talking to the towns. We try to get it incorporated into their planning and regulation. But, the bottom line is that it's really very new to a lot of people here, especially folks who are in landscaping and construction who are going to actually be building the project. So demonstration projects is a really great opportunity for education. And we had that opportunity here. This is my office. I'm inside this building here. And this is the walkway that it was just a concrete walkway. Just when it rained, it was just a river running down from a 5-acre parking lot in the county complex coming out onto the main street here of our nice historic downtown Barnstable village. So the building owner agreed to do, a permeable walkway, ripped out all of the concrete. He dug down and put in about a foot of this coarse gravel and a perforated pipe that's connecting all of the downspouts here from a building both to the right and this rather large building to the left. And then here's a view of it with the permeable pavers. These are actually called aquastone laid over. And we had about a week after the flooding, we had about a 3.5-inch rainstorm. Not a bit of erosion. Here's the last roof leader connected to a rain barrel, which is giving us a little bit of irrigation water for the beds planted around it. And here's one more view of it. So people are walking from the parking lot to the main street, and every opportunity we can, we're talking about the permeable paver, the benefits of it to, improving stormwater drainage. And it's just such a dramatic difference. Finally, around the back here, we dug out to make a little bioinfiltration here. But more importantly, we've got fresh tomatoes and beautiful flowers, so it's making people very happy. I know I'm running out of time. Our last project is the water conservation, and we dubbed that project Tourism and Optimum Use of Resources. This project started off with some local grant funding, and we created materials that were reflective of the local flora and fauna, with facts about Cape Cod water reefs, and also a vinyl plane that's turn off the faucet when it drips. The materials, we've been able to make them free of charge for over 8 years now, and they're a great hit for the hospitality community. They're saving them a lot of money. But most importantly, I think they're really encouraging hotels and motels to take, extra steps to install low-flow shower heads, minimize water-intensive landscaping, et cetera. And this project, people have asked me many times, can you quantify the water saved? And you can't really. I mean, I can tell you how many I've distributed, how many reorders, but I just have to say I think it's a great opportunity to keep the discussion alive and to keep water conservation efforts moving forward. So I think it's been successful for that. And with that whirlwind tour through what we do here on Cape Cod, I got the URLs on the screen there for our 2 websites and my email. So if you have any questions, let me know.
Yeah. Thanks, Gabrielle. One of the questions that came from the Guardians is, who fills out your paperwork for your team? Do you fill that out, or does somebody else?
Yeah, that's a funny question, because I mentioned we have a team of a great many organizations, but it's really a very small handful of people who actually work on the projects. And I do, I would say, all of the paperwork, all of the coordinating, and that's kind of how it's a team of many names and few folks.
Another question is, have you done, we saw some of that work, have you done anything with rain gardens?
Yes, I had in my notes, but I neglected to say the other side of our building is the design for a large rain garden, which is going to handle like 3,600 square feet of runoff, impervious surface runoff. And that's being constructed over the next few weeks, all of the drainage. So this is the first one that I personally have designed, and I will personally be having my hands in the dirt every step of the way. I want every single specification to be done just right. So that's going to be the final part of our demonstration here at the county for stormwater LID.
All right, as you see, there's Gabrielle's information there, and like I said, at the end, I'll post everybody's emails up there as well, and you can always reach back out to us to have you get in touch with people as well. But thank you, Gabrielle.
You're welcome.
I'm now going to make John Paquin our presenter. John is the Environmental Programs Manager for the City of Kalamazoo, Michigan. He's worked for the city since 1992, and he manages the city's Phase 2 stormwater program, the city's water source development, hydrogeological studies, and the city's wellhead protection program that serves as the city's Groundwater Guardian team. That includes representations from business, education, agriculture, environmental organizations, general citizens, the Kalamazoo County Health Department, a neighboring township, a local fire marshal, and the City of Kalamazoo Environmental Services staff. The City of Kalamazoo's Wellhead Protection Team was awarded a 2007 Public Awareness Award for its public education and outreach efforts, and a Wellhead Protection Award in 2004 by the American Water Works Association, the Michigan section. So welcome, John.
Thank you, Brian, and I appreciate everybody taking the time to join us today for the Groundwater Guardian Showcase. And today I'm just going to focus in on a few projects here for the City of Kalamazoo's Groundwater Guardian team. Before I get into the few projects, I just want to briefly describe our water system, because I think it would help you appreciate why we select certain strategies the way we do. This map here depicts the City of Kalamazoo in magenta in the center, and then those neighboring townships that we do serve, and those shapes, those strange shapes, there are capture zones for our wellhead protection areas that we do protect. Those are the areas that we derive our water from, and those are the areas that we protect. We're the second largest groundwater-based public water supply system in Michigan. We have 19 well fields, 18 pumping stations, 8 water storage facilities, 100 production wells. We serve over 122,000 customers, and we have 10 units of government that we have contracts with. And we average about 20 million gallons a day pumping from our water system, but we can pump as much as 50 million gallons a day. The 3 selected projects today, the first one is a website that we developed, protectyourwater.net. The second one is movie theater education video ads that will be the primary focus of this presentation. The third one is the Metro Bus educational placard ads that we've done. The first project, the Wellhead Protection website, started in 2003. We created the first wellhead protection website in Michigan, protectyourwater.net. And then 5 years later, last year, we completely redesigned it with LKF marketing to correlate it with the city's main website and looks and tools, and we added some enhanced graphics and video capabilities. The very unique idea came about from our wellhead protection team that I'll talk about, the groundwater education cinema advertising, and a company that we work with was Digital Talking Screen Media. This idea of using the movie trailer ads, pre-movie trailer ads, came from a meeting, the Wellhead Protection Committee meeting in December of 2004. And then we kind of just followed up and did some research, and we called the local company, Digital Talking Screen Media, who provided the advertising for the Kalamazoo 10 theaters. And so what we did is we kind of brainstormed some ideas on what messages we wanted to do. We placed them on PowerPoint slides. We met with the Digital Talking Screen Media representatives, and then we actually finalized 3 ads with that company. We basically took our ideas and they did their magic creativity and made them live on screen. The ads, first 3 ads began airing in March of 2005. Then just noteworthy is November of 2006, we actually had still ads at a brand new theater, the Ray 14 Theater, because they didn't have video capability, but they did have still ads, so we have done that too. What convinced us to try cinema advertising? It was pretty impressive, the statistics that they gave us and the capability we had. The ads would show 5 times a day, 7 days a week at 10 theaters, so we're getting exposure of 1,400 times a month. The average weekly attendance was almost 12,000. And the research, they provide a lot of research on the demographics of the moviegoers. And you're really capitalizing on Hollywood's advertising budget. They're spending millions of dollars to get you there, so they're kind of developing the audience for you. And there is a captive audience. Some people like it, some don't, but the main point is that you are sitting there waiting for the movies and you are watching these trailers, so you do have a lot of people looking at them. Research has indicated that 8 times recall compared to television when you see them on a movie screen. And the digital quality and the staff capability and creativity was pretty impressive. And I like the way that we had some flexibility to change the ads. We could add some, change the order of them, use their lobby screens and their professional voice, who does this for a living, obviously. The Wellhead Protection Team cinema ad content goals, we all wanted to achieve, we had some common denominators with our Groundwater Guardian Wellhead team. One is we wanted to uniquely animate a water drop for each message. We wanted to use ads that had a similar look but were unique and that they related to water resource protection. We wanted to say less in the ads and focus to be more effective, because 30 seconds in an ad is incredibly hard to get your point across, as we found out and learned as we went through this project. We wanted to use a previously used slogan, which was "Protect groundwater, it's what you drink." We wanted to give credit to the Michigan Department of Environmental Quality for the grant fundings. And we wanted to list the Wellhead Protection Team as a source of the ad content and list the website address. Now let's go ahead and visit the website to view the ads. And I'll just show you this. The first page, when you go to protectyourwater.net and you drill down to educational sources and movie theater ads, you'll see these here. I'm just going to show you 5 of those ads. Okay, and here's the first one, and the main message here was that people do get their drinking water from groundwater in our area.
Let's tap your knowledge of drinking water. What is the source of Kalamazoo's drinking water? Lake Michigan, Kalamazoo River, groundwater, all of the above. The answer is C. All county residents use groundwater for their drinking water. Visit protectyourwater.net and learn more about local water supply efforts.
Second video, we wanted to, since people learned about that they're drinking groundwater, we wanted them to understand a little bit about how groundwater can become contaminated, and this next video has kind of become a favorite amongst a lot of the viewers.
Before you dump these kinds of products, think a moment. If they're too dangerous to be taken internally, then they're also a danger to groundwater. Don't bring them back to your home through the faucet. Dispose of these products free at the Household Hazardous Waste Center on Lamont Street, and do your part to leave a legacy for future generations. Safe drinking water. Please visit protectyourwater.net for more information.
The next video, we wanted to integrate the stormwater, the connection with stormwater and surface water, as the previous presenters also touched upon.
Test time, true or false? All stormwater entering catch basins is carried directly to rivers, streams, or lakes. The answer is false. Some basins allow stormwater and anything washed or poured into them to seep into the ground with the potential to pollute our groundwater. Do everything you can to protect groundwater. It's what you drink. Please visit protectyourwater.net to learn more.
And the next ad here, we wanted to talk about a pretty popular topic, and that is abandoned wells. So this next one was intended to get people thinking about wells that may be on their property that need to be properly plugged.
Well. Speaking of wells, do you have an unused or abandoned well on your property? Abandoned wells provide ways for pollutants to reach groundwater, your drinking water supply. Protect your drinking water. Locate and plug abandoned wells on your property. Contact Kalamazoo County Environmental Health at this number or visit protectyourwater.net.
The last video I'm going to show is another popular with sustainability and about water conservation. So this is actually our newest video that we've done.
Do you want to save money and help the environment? It's easy. Fix faucet and toilet leaks. Water your lawn only when it needs it. Wash your dishes and clothes only with full loads. Turn off the faucet when brushing your teeth. Take shorter showers and use low-flow shower heads. And please visit www.protectyourwater.net for more smart ways to save money and conserve water.
The cinema ad campaign results. I know everybody's interested in the cost, and they're not cheap. But we did have the grant money to really help us out. But for to do the actual production of them and have 2 ads going all the time in all 10 theaters and the lobby screen advertising, and to produce an ad, it's over $11,000 a year. But the results have been quite successful based on team participation. The Groundwater Guardian team really, I think everybody climbed on board with this project. They really were interested in it because it was exciting to develop just an idea and see it come alive on the screen. We've tracking with website hits. We think it's helped the website visits quite a bit. We're planning on doing another 2 or so ads in the future. We've let other wellhead protection communities use them for free. As far as using the ads, they're going to have to change the local language a little bit and pay for the airtime, but at least they have the framework in which to go ahead and use these if they wish. We did a public survey back in April 2006, which we had a very good response rate. And of those surveyed, 10% had actually seen a pre-movie video at the Kalamazoo 10 Theater, so that was pretty encouraging. So we were reaching quite a few people out there. Our latest strategy is Metro Transit bus signs, and this one has been kind of fun too, and it gets great exposure because these buses are all around the metropolitan area. And again, a lot of people are seeing them, all different demographics. So we're pretty excited about that. The Metro Bus ad campaign cost to do 20. The first year we did it in 2008 and 2009. To do all the production, the artwork, and to do 20 Metro buses continuously for a year was over $23,000. This next year, starting in October, we're going to knock that down to 10 buses, and so that'll cost us over $15,000. But again, we're using grant money to do this, and we believe that it's reaching a lot of people. Here's just some graphs that show through the early days of 2003 through 2005. You can see the green dash line is just the running average of total visits on the website, and then the blue line is showing the actual monthly visits, and then it shows some of the significant events of education events, either new ads being placed or, as you see on the right, a Bronson Hospital Health Fair and different things there. So we saw about 175% increase of our website visits during this particular period. Then the next period, 2005 through 2007, we're pretty busy with a lot of different events. As you can see, again, a lot of spikes typically correspond with a new ad or a new event, a public event, education event that we did. In this period, we saw a 50% increase from the previous. Then the most recent, we saw about 100% increase again in total page views this time. And I think it really helped with the new ad, the new Metro Bus campaign, and we put a link to www.protectyourwater.net right on the city's main page. So I think all those components did help get a lot more people to the website. Again, we thank Michigan Department of Environmental Quality because we have had a lot of grant funding to help us do a lot of not only technical work for our wellhead protection program, but focusing in a lot of the Groundwater Guardian public education strategies throughout the year. So we've been real fortunate. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to call.
All right, thanks, John. Let me know if you have any questions and want to send some to chat for John. Let me know quick. Otherwise, as you see, his email and phone number and everything is up there. And as I said, I'll post that again here pretty soon. So we don't have any questions right now. So I just kind of wanted to wrap this up. And first of all, thank everyone for attending today's webinar, co-sponsored by the Water Research Foundation. Just make sure after today's webinar, you'll receive a survey evaluation that you'll receive received by email, and please take a few minutes to complete that. I understand I'm having some technical issues. John, or is anyone able to hear me?
I can hear you.
I can hear you.
Okay.
I can hear you.
Some people seem to be having some issues with not being able to hear me, so I'll continue a little bit then to say that we have upcoming webinars. The next scheduled one is Tuesday, October 27th at 2 o'clock with Ann Bleed. She'll be talking on challenges of integrated management of surface water and groundwater. You see the other two upcoming in November and December as well. Registration for Ann Bleeds will open in early October. We'll make that available on groundwater.org under the webinars button. And we think that most of all of them will be of great interest to you as well. An archived version of this webinar will be available at the webinar button as well. As a registrant of this webinar, you'll get a coupon code to access that archived version for free. That coupon code will be included on the survey email that will be coming out shortly. If you don't receive that code, be sure to contact me, and you can reach me at webinar@groundwater.org. And if you'd like more information about the Groundwater Foundation, you can visit our website at groundwater.org. We're also available on Facebook. You can follow us, Twitter, and LinkedIn. And as you see below, I've also posted the emails for Janine, Gabrielle, and John. So that concludes today's webinar. I hope you all have a great day. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to email the presenters. I want to thank them once again. And other than that, have a great day.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you.
Thank you.